1978, a new bishop was chosen to head a small diocese in Michigan. I happened to be stationed there at the time, and it was a very amazing experience. Pope John Paul II had just been elected pope, and this was one of the first assignments that he approved. For the ordination, because the person chosen was a priest, he had to be ordained bishop, they chose to rent the Civic Center in Saginaw, Michigan. Prior to the ordination, we learned about this new bishop, and his background was fascinating. First of all, what was most intriguing for most people, he had a wooden leg. Secondly, he liked to play hockey. And thirdly, he had an amazing memory. He never read the gospel. It was all committed to memory, and he recited it from memory, including the Passion. And I have to tell you, I was at a mass where he read the Passion, and I followed along to see if he remembered every comma and every article, and he did. His name was Bishop Kenneth Untner. And we were gathered in the Civic Center for his ordination. Cardinal Dearden was the ordaining prelate. And after the ordination, Bishop Untner spoke to the congregation. And I'll never forget the first sentence that he spoke to us that day. He said, and I quote, "My name is Ken, and I'm here to be your waiter." My name is Ken, and I'm here to be your waiter. I think the cardinal and most of the priests there did this. But you know what the people did? They stood up and applauded him. It was a round of applause like I hadn't heard in a long time. The people were grateful to receive a bishop who would become their waiter. Sisters and brothers, it's all about the apron. It's all about the apron. When you're a waiter, you have to use an apron. When you're in the kitchen, you use an apron. When you're waiting on tables. When you're in the butcher shop. And I'll bet you can come up with several other places where people wear aprons. The apron is a symbol of service. It's also a symbol of hard work. Because when you put the apron on, what you're going to do is dirty enough that you have to cover yourself, right? A baker does that all the time. Typically, they wear white aprons so that the flour doesn't show. They never wear an apron this color. Bishop Untner understood what Jesus was talking about in the gospel tonight. And he was willing to put on the apron of service in order to wait on the people of his diocese. He offers us a legacy, and we here at St. James and St. Teresa have bits and pieces of his legacy. I noticed the little black books in the church here, the little meditation books. He's the one who created them. And if you look at the beginning, they dedicate it yet to him. He since died of cancer at a very young age. But he was a waiter to the very end. Tonight, we are asked to put on aprons of service. Just as Jesus put that towel around his waist and got on his knees to be of service to his brothers and sisters who were gathered that night. By the way, I'd like to think there were women there also. And he washed their feet. He was willing to get down and dirty for his beloved. And at the end, Deacon Gordon read the words of Jesus, "As I have done, so now you must do." We're all expected to put on aprons of service. When I interviewed the confirmation candidates, I asked each of them about their service. And they had just a long list of things that they had done. And after they got done, they thought that that was the end of the question. But I asked them, what are you going to do for the parish now and into the future? Because service isn't just about a moment in time or a responsibility that we have within the parish community. By our very baptism, we're committed to be a people of service. Priest, prophet, and members of the royal household of God. The service that we offer in prayer. The service that we offer as we speak the truth and stand on behalf of those who are treated unjustly and with respect, since we're all members of the royal household of God. We can do none of this, sisters and brothers, none of this on our own. And that's why tonight we gather at this table, because it's here that we receive the strength, the nourishment, and the encouragement of Jesus, who offers us this sacrifice, this sacrament of love and service. He not only got on his knees that night, but he also offered us a way for us to be able to be of service into the future. And so we come here to receive the strength that we need to go out there and to put on the aprons of service so that those who are in need can be cared for. But be careful, because often the places and times we're asked to be of service are inconvenient. Do you ever notice that? You're watching your favorite program on TV, and all of a sudden you get a text message saying, "Could you call me?" And the first thing, at least I confess, the first thing I do is I pretend I didn't see the text message until the commercial. But the point is, service is not convenient. Being available to respond to the needs of those around us is not convenient. Serving those who are poor and without is not convenient. And in all of the service we do, please don't expect a thank you. Don't expect it. You do it because you want to, because it's the responsibility you have, whether or not you get a thank you. Isn't it interesting? You hear so often, "I'll never do that again. He never even said thank you to me." Huh? That's not about service. When Bishop Unter put on the waiter's apron, he never looked back. He never counted the cost. He gave without counting, because he gave without counting. That's the example that we carry with us on this night. Sisters and brothers, we need to be about the business of putting our aprons on and ministering to the people of God and beyond. When Pope Francis, that first Holy Thursday in Rome, chose to go to a prison and there to wash feet, he didn't say to the guards, "I only want to wash the feet of Catholic men." He didn't even say, "I want to wash the feet only of Catholic men and women." He was sending us a message that night, because that night he washed the feet of Muslim women, of people who didn't even believe in God. He got on his hands and knees and he showed us, not told us, he showed us that our service has to go beyond our families, beyond our faith communities, beyond our comfort zones. God calls us to be of service to the people of this planet. And we need to be careful that our own prejudices don't hinder us from the call to serve. Wasn't it Matthew 25, the last judgment, huh? Whenever you did it to one of these, you did it to? Yeah, you did it to me. You were close. Whenever you did it to one of these, you did it to me. But what's equally as important, he asked, invited, called those who were of service to enter the kingdom. Our ticket to glory, according to Matthew 25, is if we're serving, is if we're willing to reach out to those who are most in need, to the hungry, the poor, the forgotten. And not just those with whom we're going to get a reward. The next time you put on an apron, the next time you see someone in an apron, please remember this night. Please remember the example of Jesus and commit once more to be people of service wherever God calls us, and know that we will always, always, always have the strength to do it. For Jesus is with us always, even until the end of time. Amen? Amen. Tonight's the night when we